Welcome to Around and Around, the OCD Circle. My name is Elizabeth, and I have been living with obsessive-compulsive disorder for over 60 years. I am not a therapist or a member of the medical community. I am just an ordinary person like yourself who will be sharing my thoughts and experiences with you, with the hope that you will feel less alone. If you don't have OCD, I hope you will learn some information that will help you understand this disorder better. Some of the topics I will be covering may be triggering for you as a listener. If so, I apologize in advance. Since I don't know what your triggers are, please refer to the episode summary in the show notes before listening to each episode. If at any time you feel like hurting yourself or ending your life, please call the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 if you are in the United States. It is open 24 hours a day, and you will be connected with the nearest crisis center to receive immediate counseling and local mental health referrals. Now, on to today's episode. Hello everyone. I thank you all for joining me today on this new episode. I want to remind you that you are always welcome to contact me through email or any of my social media accounts, which are listed in the show notes. I welcome your feedback regarding this podcast. I'm quite new at this. I'm still learning. How do you think I'm doing? Am I connecting with you, my listeners? Is my sound okay? I'll be glad to purchase a new microphone if it's not. Is there a topic you would like for me to address? Would you like to be a guest on a future episode? You're welcome to be completely anonymous on air if you'd like to be a guest and tell your story. The only requirement is that you have officially been diagnosed with OCD and been treated for at least 2 years by a medical professional. I'm getting ready to line up my first guest as I'm recording this, so an interview is in the works. I hope it takes place. I'm super excited. Today I have a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I may have to take a few breaks. I apologize. I've talked previously about how OCD has affected some of my friendships. Today, I wanted to ask you if you've ever felt like you are a needy person. I think people in my life sometimes think of me that way, but they don't actually come out and say it to my face. And if you feel like you're needy, do you think that your obsessive-compulsive disorder has anything to do with it? For years, I have been needy as far as my marriage is concerned. I know my wife gets so tired of me asking, "Are you okay? Are we okay? Are you mad at me?" There was a time when I would ask these questions 5 to 6 times a day. The same question. Asking those questions is just another way of checking off the checklist in my mind. Instead of checking locks on doors or stoves or ovens, I'm constantly checking people. For more on my obsession with people, please go back and listen to my very first episode where I discuss the type of OCD I have. So in a way, I need to be needy. It fulfills me. It relieves stress and anxiety when I ask my wife these questions and hear her say, "Yes, I'm okay. Yes, we're okay. No, I'm not mad at you. Why would I be?" The checking ritual is always way worse when I'm in the middle of an OCD spell. So because I'm at the end of one now, even though my brain is telling me to ask my wife these questions out loud, I'm able to refrain from asking them, for the most part. I know that's a relief to her. And I know that she's noticed because she's told me so. Checking with family and friends is also my way of connecting to people. Right now I'm having a lot of trouble trusting even my closest friends. I lost a very good friend and mentor a few months back. I never thought that would happen, and so now I'm questioning all of my relationships right now. If they're secure, if they will last. What can I do to keep these relationships going? One of the ways is not to appear needy. I find myself doing the opposite right now. Not checking in with people, isolating myself from them, waiting for them to make the next visit or phone call. Many times it never comes. I lost quite a few friendships during the pandemic. People moved away, or once the pandemic was over, they found different interests that don't involve me anymore. Sometimes I blame myself for not checking on them more. Maybe the friendships would have continued. I don't know. But am I really needy? Am I trying to get attention, or is this part of my obsessive compulsive disorder? I mean, I'm not asking people for help and advice all the time. And so instead of saying I need to be needy, what I'm really saying is that I need to be needed. I'm an empath. I have been since grade school. I always befriended kids who were teased for being different. The girl who was the only Jehovah's Witness in our class and wouldn't salute the flag. The girl who smelled because she was a bedwetter. The girl they teased on the softball team because she always struck out. I dated a boy who stuttered, and I befriended a guy in a wheelchair. I had empathy for all of them. I think it was because I knew what it was like to be different. I'm happy to announce that Around and Around the OCD Circle podcast now has a Facebook page. A private, safe space where we can share our OCD experiences with others. Topics such as obsessions, intrusive thoughts, and rituals will be discussed by members who can relate to one another because we all have one thing in common: obsessive compulsive disorder. You are not alone. Join us, won't you, on the Around and Around the OCD Circle Facebook page. The link is in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Verywellmind.com defines an empath this way, quote, "An empath is a person highly attuned to the feelings and emotions of those around them. Empaths feel what another person is feeling at a deep emotional level. Their ability to discern what others are feeling goes beyond empathy, which is defined simply as the ability to understand the feelings of others. Instead, being an empath extends to actually taking those feelings on. This describes me to a T. The other day, a friend and I were working together, and she got extremely, extremely upset, and it affected me so greatly. I took those feelings on, and I had so much difficulty concentrating for the rest of the day. It was like I was actually feeling what she had felt. This website also notes the pros and cons of being an empath. So I'm going to read those to you now and tell you whether or not they apply to me. The pros, quote, "Empaths are good listeners," close quote. I am usually, but I interrupt people a lot because I'm afraid I'm going to forget the next thought in my head and I want to get it out before I do. I nod a lot and I tell people I understand. I don't like giving advice unless they ask for it. That's just not me. Sometimes all a person needs is someone to listen. Next one, quote, "Understand people on a deeper level," close quote. I think that's true of me because I'm a very complex person and I have had many positive and negative experiences in my 60 plus years. And the next one, quote, "Have the ability to detect dishonesty," close quote. Now I'm a bit cynical when it comes to this because of dealing with the public for so long. People will go way out of their way to lie to get what they want in a retail transaction or in a professional setting. I always try to read between the lines when I'm interacting with new people. All right, now the cons. Quote, "Overwhelmed in large public places," close quote. This is me. I tend to get claustrophobic. I had a panic attack in the lobby last month after seeing the musical Wicked. Could it also be that my brain is being overstimulated? Or that maybe I'm worried that I can't possibly help or attend to each of these people individually? I don't know. The next con, quote, "Mental strain of taking on others' emotions," close quote. I do this all the time. Like I said, I did that with my friend the other day. My OCD forces me to think of others' emotions over and over again. And the last con, quote, risk of burnout without boundaries, close quote. I have always had a hard time saying no, and I've taken on way too much in the past, which ended in a burnout. I think it's best to do one or two things well instead of a lot of things poorly. Doesn't everyone want to be needed at some point in their life? I think that for me, the combination of being an empath and having obsessive compulsive disorder makes checking on people much worse. If I thought I wasn't needed, I don't think I could take another breath. That's how important it is to me. When I do the opposite and I don't check on people, they don't seem to check on me. Most people don't know if I'm sick or had a bad day unless I contact them. And these slowly become one-sided relationships. I dwell on it sometimes. I feel sorry for myself. After a while, I start to get angry. But like I've told you before, when I die, I want to be remembered as loving and kind. Getting angry or depressed about it, or isolating myself from others, is not going to end with me being thought of that way. So I just go on checking in on people. I think my mental health would be a lot worse if I didn't check. I know that I will be remembered as a dependable person, but I hope I will not be remembered as a pest. I have to do what's best for my mental health and balance the needy seesaw which goes up and down constantly. And that's emotionally and physically draining sometimes. If you feel like you're a needy person, ask yourself, am I asking for things all the time, or am I just wanting to be needed? Am I just seeking attention, or do you just want to feel important? I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling needy at times. When a person's ill, for example, some people like to have their hair stroked or soup ordered for delivery. That would be me. Others want to be left alone in peace and quiet. That's my wife. When a person gets very angry, some people want to tell others, talk it out, cry. That would be me. But others want to be left alone for a while until they calm down. That's my wife. But if you feel you're continuously bothering people, or you or they feel uncomfortable about it, it's time to check it at the door, my friends. It can be exhausting for everyone. Find other outlets for checking and asking. If you're a checker, find other things to check that don't involve others. I started a business a few years ago, which requires that I check messages and statistics all throughout the day. This has helped me a lot with checking. Become as independent as you can in areas where you are constantly asking for help, but not in medical situations, of course. And then, when you learn those skills, be sure that you are not being taken advantage of, going to the other extreme, like I sometimes do, offering your services over and over and over again to the point of mental and physical exhaustion. I would love it if you would send me a comment about this episode. How do you feel about being needy or needed? Let's connect. Remember that you are important to me, and I wish only the best for you.